Hi folks, welcome to Community Pulse. I'm your host Brian Lamore. On today's show we'll be talking about the art of the motorcycle. Yes, we're going to have an art exhibit of motorcycles, 23 of them built prior to 1974. And some of them are almost one-offs. They're certainly collectible and they're beautiful because they're art. They'll also have a collection of helmets and they'll have motorcycle art at our art center here in Helena, the Holter Museum of Art. It starts August 5th and goes through October 31st. But on Saturday, October 27th, they will have a special ride-in. They'll close down Cruise Avenue. They'll have a short ride for all motorcyclists, special parking for a motorcycle on Cruise Avenue, and come and see the show. It'll be a great time. It's called a ride-in, and what you see on the screen is what will be happening. Of course, we have a wonderful guest today. We have Jimmy Wallenberg. You're the curator for this show at the Holter. Welcome to the show, first of all, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Now, this is the art of the motorcycle. How do motorcycles become art?
Well, basically in the design, especially in the older bikes, the lines of the bike, the engineering of the bike, they're an art in their own way. I came about this through the Guggenheim Museum did the Art of the Motorcycle exhibition in Las Vegas and also in New York at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I kind of always liked it and thought Holter would be a good place to put on an exhibition of this in Helena and really bring people into the Holter.
I know when Guggenheim put that on, there's a lot of talk about that. It was like, wow, this is really neat. And now we're having it here in Helena. And of course, we have a special guest here. We have a 1946 Triumph, and it is gorgeous, and it is yours, right?
Yes, this is one of mine here. This will be in the exhibition. This is a Triumph 500cc Speed Twin, first bike that Triumph produced after World War II. They had to retool up due to their Coventry factory being bombed out during the war, and they produced this motorcycle and claimed that it saved Triumph.
Wow, that's neat. Well, that's amazing for them to rebuild a factory after the war within a year, retool, redesign, and it came out as a 500. And right now, 500 is, you know, not a big engine in motorcycles, but back then it was, right?
In 1946, that was a big bike. Most of the bikes were much smaller, 250cc. You know, that was a big bike considered then. They were more, you know, utilitarian, get around. They weren't real long-term cruising bikes. And then during the war, several manufacturers were building bikes just for military use. Triumph being one, BSA, Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's really neat. Now, you have 24 different bikes, 23 bikes in the show. And how do you come about all these bikes? You put out a word, or do people have these bikes? They all know each other.
You know, I know several people here, and most of the bikes actually are from local collections. There's quite a few bikes around that are in garages and people keep and ride periodically. But it was one of those, uncover this bike, they tell you about other bikes, and so I just went around and visited with people and picked bikes out of their collections that I thought would be well represented. Everything's pre-1974. The oldest bike we have is a 1926 Velocette. The oldest piece we have is an Indian engine from 1913. The engine itself.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, now being the curator, what do you look for? You know, you said you got to look at all the different bikes, you got to pick which ones you wanted in the show. What was the objective in putting these together for the show?
Well, I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. I'm a freelance motorsports photographer. So I kind of have a different eye for the bike. Just like in cars, you look at certain cars and they have the lines, they have the design, they just have the different look completely, which I went after. And not all the bikes are show bikes. Some of them are ridden, old bikes that are all original, patina, dirty, but they're really something to look at. They really have that cool factor, and they're art. I mean, they are art.
Yeah. Well, you know, in today's bikes, there's a lot of custom bike manufacturers, and they do custom paints. And it seems like if you want an art bike, you buy the bike and then add to it, I guess. But back then, I mean, the art was coming from the factories, and I don't think they really made them artsy, did they? The owners? I mean, they're basically original is the art.
Yeah, original is the art. I mean, when you see, like you say, the 26 and the 33 Velisets, the old Indians, the 41 Indian, we have a 46 Indian Chief. We have a couple of cafe race bikes from the 60s. They're just, the lines and the whole engineering and the look of it, they're not all gauded up, you know.
Yeah.
They're basic engines, carburetors, fuel systems, and suspension.
And back then, it was designed for efficiency versus art. But now, 50, 70 years later,
Yeah.
they're art, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's really neat. Well, now, what goes with motorcycles, I guess it's maybe a new thing, is helmets. But you're also having an exhibit of helmets. And how do you collect helmets? I mean, what's kind of the range and the purpose? And
We've got a collection. We'll have a wall that's just displaying period helmets all the way from the early 20s up through current helmets, but several of them are hand painted. Your typical metal flake, old 70s metal flake helmets. What they call the pudding bowl helmet back in the 30s and 40s in England. They're a half helmet that they rode on cafe racers when cafes were big. Yeah, just there's some nice looking, and again, the designs, the colors, again, it's art.
how it all comes together.
Yeah.
Well, then the third aspect is art, and motorcycle is the topic. And you have some wonderful artists that will be collected on display also. Tell us more.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to meet several artists through my travels with bikes and stuff. But I've got an artist. He's world renowned. His name's David Ewell out of Golden, Colorado. He is the only worldwide licensed Harley Davidson oil painter.
Oh.
He's giving us two of his pieces, which are really amazing. Recent editions, you'll have to see them. Also have a piece coming from George Sedlak, who was Evel Knievel's original helmet painter and bike painter. He did all of Evel Knievel's art on helmets and bikes throughout the years. And he has a piece of work called the Indian Wrecking Crew that is representing two world champions that are battling side-by-side flat track racing. They're Indian factory riders. One is the 51 and 53 champion. The other one is the 52 champion. And it's a gorgeous piece. We have some a little bit more modern riding art from some race art from current GP type artists. His name is Randy Owens. Very colorful, done in the way of kind of like, oh God, his name just escapes me. But anyway, it's really nice stuff. And then a couple of pen and ink drawings of a 1926 and a 1926 Indian and a 1916 Triumph. Then we'll be featuring other assorted period photographs, some from around Helena back in the 50s and 40s of motorcycles. I have some of my photographs will be displayed. It really needs to be seen. This is a must-see.
Yeah. Well, now, Jimmy, is this kind of I don't want to say a new type of art, but not the typical art you see at the Holter? You know, I enjoy going there and seeing their artists. You know, you have oil painters and watercolors and sculptors and everything else. And this kind of seems, you know, not really the mainstream Holter art.
No, this is a little different for the Holter. I approached them with the idea for this exhibition back in September, October, and the board listened to the proposal and liked the concept and wanted to do something different that the Holter's never done. We're hoping to really bring in a really diverse crowd and bring in more exposure of what the Holter is capable of. Plus, there'll be other exhibitions going on at the same time. This exhibition will be in the Sherman Gallery, which is the first to your right as you walk in. And then there'll be other exhibitions, so people will be able to see some other fine art that is also there.
Well, now, another aspect of this is a ride-in. It's going on August 27th, and that sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Tell us more about the ride-in.
Well, we're going to, the Holter is going to close Cruz Avenue. The city's going to close Cruz to motorcycle traffic only. We're hoping to draw bikes in from all over Montana and the Northwest, out of Eastern Washington, Idaho, Wyoming. We're hoping to bring bikes in and have 100, 200 plus motorcycles show up. There'll be a barbecue, possibly live music or a DJ. There'll be a silent auction with lots of motorcycle related art and equipment and pieces of maybe service gift certificates from bike dealers and stuff. So, and there's a very good possibility that we're going to have a bike to auction off.
Ooh.
Yeah, so,
That'll be great.
yeah.
Well, now, you're going to auction certain things off, so if an individual wanted to donate something, they could probably give you a call, right?
Yes, if someone has something they'd like to, we'd love to have some items for the silent auction. So anybody that's got anything they'd like to donate, it would really help offset costs for bringing in exhibitions to the Holter, and it'd be well received.
Well received. And of course, the Holter, they do have a suggestion box there if you'd like to make a donation to donate. But to generalize, the Holter's free, isn't it?
Yes, all exhibitions are free. And this will be, and some of them are quite costly to the Holter to bring in. So we're trying to do this as cost-free as possible. Luckily, most of the bikes are coming from Helena. It's a lot easier that way than trying to ship stuff from elsewhere. But like I say, we have art coming in from all over the country. And the National Motorcycle Museum is sending some stuff to display. So yeah, the word has gotten out.
Well, it's gotten out. That's great. And that time of the year in August, people are traveling around. They're going to Sturgis. They come through Helena because it's between the two parks, and Sturgis is on the way home. It's pretty impressive. Well, now, you know, we have such an interesting bike here, the Triumph from 1946. You mentioned it saved the company. But I can't really tell that by looking at it. Are you going to have like tours or information that would describe the importance of the particular bike?
Yes, each bike will be numbered. And there'll be a handout that you're able to get when you walk into the Holter, and it will have a description of all the bikes, history of the bike, any pertinent information. A couple of the bikes that have race history, that information will be involved in that. So yeah, feel free to grab one of those. There'll be artwork from Randy Owens and David Ewell are sending posters of their art that will be for sale in the gift shop. So stuff like that will be available as well. And there'll be a limited edition poster from the exhibition that we're hoping to have and sell it in the gift shop as well.
Geez, that's great. Well, you know, I'm a motorcycle guy. We belong to the same motorcycle club. We have some passionate motorcycle riders and owners here, and you always ask how many motorcycles you got, and you have a few, don't you?
I have a few. I hate to let my wife know exactly, but I have 8 bikes myself. Several of my friends have way more.
Yes.
20 plus bikes. Some incredible collections are around here that you just don't know exist. And one of the bikes we're going to have actually is a commemorative Evel Knievel bike that was produced by California Custom Cycles. They built only 500 of these bikes, and in order to get the rights to use Evel's name and design colors on the bike, he got the first 15 of those bikes. And Glenn Middlestead, who's a good friend of mine, has number 4 of that edition signed by Evel, and that bike will be in the exhibition along with some other Evel memorabilia.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know also know you have some beautiful cars. You have a Lotus Europa that's red. I used to have a Lotus, and it's like gorgeous. Are most of your bikes and cars red?
No, just you know, it's weird. I have a 1953 British Excelsior as well, and it's a very similar color. And I think a lot of the bikes back then were just in this kind of color combination, or they were black. There weren't a lot of real vibrant colors of bikes, you know, back in the early 40s, 30s and stuff. So
yeah, that's kind of a new trend, I know. And well, now you mentioned that we're having an auction, and as part of the ride-in, and you'd like to donate different things. So if people were to contact you, what kind of things that can people donate, or that you would like to see or receive?
Anything motorcycle related. I mean, if they have a piece of art, if they have a hand-painted helmet, if they have racing leathers that they'd like to donate for the auction, anything motorcycle related. Like I say, if a dealers want a gift card, anything like that, we'd accept for sure.
And it'd be through the Holter Museum of Art. They're I think they're a 501c3.
Yeah.
They're tax deductible, bottom line.
And the contacts at the Holter, you can either get a hold of Renee Erb, who is the current assistant curator for the Holter, or Chris Ricardo, who's the operations manager. And they know they can take care of any of that detail that you need. There's forms that can be filled out for donations.
That they can take care of that. They've done that a lot. But let's kind of just recap what's going on. That the Art of the Motorcycle is happening August 5th through October 31st. It's going to be at the Holter Museum of Art. And you can go to the website and see some more information on it there. And again, what does the exhibit, what will you be showing?
Well, I mean, mostly the bikes, the 23 bikes, and everything to do with motorcycles and the art of. And hopefully people that don't believe that it's art will come and really take a look at it and be wowed by it, because I think it's going to be an exceptional exhibition. And on August 5th is the opening. There is a reception. I'd like to invite anyone that would like to come to that. It is open. And ride a bike, if you have one. We're going to try and park across the street from the Holter on the uphill side. It's much easier to back a bike in downhill than it is to pull it backwards uphill. So on Lawrence Avenue. But and then again, it's open all the way through October 31st. And partway through the exhibition, we're going to rotate a few bikes in and out. So it'll be refreshed come late September. We'll pull a few out and put a few other ones in, because I had so many bikes to choose from, I couldn't get them all in at one time.
Not big enough. It's big
space,
space,
I wish
but not big enough.
I could have put 100 in there.
Well, it'll be a lot of fun. I know the people in our motorcycle clubs, they travel all around to see different things. I know some friends and I went out to Seattle to see the spring new bikes last year, and to come to Helena, this is a real feather in our hat to have something like this, particularly with the Holter, their auspices to help support this. This is wonderful, isn't it?
They're a great facility. They have some great exhibitions. I'm hoping this to be one of their best that they've seen in a while.
And will you repeat it in the near future?
If someone would like it somewhere else, I'd certainly be open to moving it somewhere afterwards. Maybe to Great Falls or Billings or something. It's just a little bit more logistics with the bikes. The artwork, I'd have to pull some strings there and get those folks to donate and loan us the art again, but they've been very, very receptive to helping to promote this.
Well, Jimmy, I put on conferences, and the organizing for this, everything you have to do in the background is amazing, and if it goes off without a hitch, it makes it look easy, and I'm sure it's going to look easy for you.
I hope. Yeah, we're on the final stretch now. Everything's set. Now it's just the installation will start on August 1st and open on the 5th.
That's good.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for doing that and for
You're
being on the
welcome.
show today.
Thanks for having me.
Great. And for our viewers, again, the art of the motorcycle. It started at the Guggenheim Museum in New York, moved to Vegas, and now a similar one Jimmy's putting together here in Helena. It's the art of the motorcycle. It'll be August 5th through August 31st. He'll bring in several more motorcycles during that time period, but he'll have wonderful bikes, all of them for prior to 1974. There'll be 23 bikes in the area. There'll be a motorcycle helmet collection going back, I think he said, to 1915. And then he'll have motorcycle art with some world famous artists that are bringing in their art for you to see, and there might even be some posters that you could buy in the windows. Also, they'll have a ride-in August 27th. Everybody bring your motorcycles. They'll have a barbecue, they'll have music, and they're going to shut down Cruise Avenue so everybody can park their bikes and probably see some of the newer ones. A lot of people have their bikes since 1974. It'll be a really good time. I'm sure I'm going to be there with one of my bikes, and we hope to see all of you there. For Community Pulse, I'm Brian Lamore. Thank you for joining us.